Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Warships Legends with Ungainly Titan. And we're on the domination map, the Ring, and I'm in the Wicks. It's now a tier, in the Legends it's a tier 2 American destroyer. Tier 3 on the console, on the PC version, and there's not much difference. It's got similar, I think it's got one more smoke use and one more speed boost on the PC, but I'm not 100% sure. But my real thing about this game is that I've started, and I must do more of it. And I should have been doing more of it with the PC game as well. I should really be watching more and more of my replays and the replay files in general. Well, the recordings in the case of World of Warships. And the main reason I should be paying more attention to them is just to learn from the mistakes that I make. But one of the things about learning is that the feedback in this game is actually fairly poor. Like, in some ways, the complexity of the game is such that possibly it's feedback alone from score results and analysing score results doesn't only gets you so far. But the thing is that you've actually got more tools for feedback in World of Tanks. If you go to World of Tanks, you can see your damage output, but you can also see the damage output of every other player on the team, not just their experience. You can see their base experience, and you can see their damage output, and this can be useful because, for instance, you can see people who have who are higher than you on the experience table in World of Tanks, and they will have maybe done less primary damage than you have. Now, in many cases, these people will probably have done more assisted damage. Now, you don't see assisted damage in World of Warships, but I do think it is taken into account. But even without assisted damage, you can also tell sometimes that a person, a lower tier tank, with lower direct damage done, and maybe even lower assisted damage than you've done, can still do better than you, simply because of the fact that it was shooting at higher tier tanks. And that's a useful kind of metric to have. It tells you what gets rewarded. You can see two tanks that have very little difference in, say, the damage output, but one of them is 3 or 4 places higher than the other, and they'll be the same tier or whatever. And the probable cause in a lot of those cases is that the higher tier, the tank that's higher on the experience table, is the one that actually live longer, because survival to the end of the game also counts towards experience. Now, I presume, like in the World of Tanks, capping counts towards experience. It doesn't count a huge amount towards experience because World of Tanks isn't. It's not a capping game, but a lot of the game modes on World of Warships are domination game modes, and domination game modes, capping is a central part of the strategy. So I presume it gets rewarded in terms of in terms of experience. So this game, for instance, is one of the first games it's the first game I've played, I think, on either PC or console, where I have actually come number 1 by experience on a player versus player on the winning team. I think I may have come number 1 by experience on a losing team, but I think in those occasions where I've done it on a losing team, I've done a reasonable amount of damage, and B, the last guy to die as well, so I got a certain amount of my bonus could have been due to the fact that I was alive at the end of the game and I was the last player standing, so to say, on my team. In this particular game, I do a lot of damage right here at the start. I basically take out one ship and I take out most, if not all, of its health points, because I got 2 separate torpedo strikes in. He had used his damage repair for the first strike. He didn't have it available for the second strike, so he flooded, and he was on fire from me as well. Now, I don't know if I did a whole lot of fire damage, I only 1 fire burning, so I don't think I was clocking up a lot of damage, but the flooding was pretty substantial. And this guy gets taken out. by flooding. So I have 24,000 damage done already, and that's what, 3 times my total hit points. Which certainly, all thanks, would be a good result for the game, even if I did no further damage for the rest of the game. Now, the cruiser that I was with has decided to sail through, which I think was actually probably a good idea on their part, and they've gone to Cap Bravo. But it puts them on the other side of the island, therefore not detected from the 2 ships that I'm looking at here, the Orion and whatever is with them. Now, these torpedo strikes are rather speculative on my part. They're more if the ships decide to turn up this way. There is another ship with the Orion, I'm not too sure what it is. And yeah, there's lots of things that I'm doing badly and inefficiently. I'm particularly bad. I spend way too much time in torpedo mode when I'm using the torpedoes, faffing about with getting the ship into a position where I can actually fire in the direction of the target indicator, for instance. Whereas I should probably stay on the gunnery and stay using my guns until the ship's already lined up more or less where it needs to be, so that only very minor adjustments to course are needed, so that the target indicator is in a direction that I can launch. The target lead indicator is in a direction that I can launch the torpedoes in. In other words, I shouldn't be wasting time maneuvering the ship to put the target lead indicator into a launchable state. Therefore, I'm not spending enough time using gunnery. I'm also tend to be launching them a little too far away, and I think my use of smoke and stuff like that. I used the smoke here because I wanted to give the ship in front of me the option of hiding behind my smoke, but I probably should have kept going longer, deeper into the circle, and before I popped the smoke, so that the ship in front of me would have had would be closer to the smoke screen when I launched it, and therefore more likely to have the option. Now, the enemy have captured Area D, so at this point we're about to capture Alpha, and the Orion is sailing away. He's turning his stern towards the friendly ship, and he's gotten the worst of the exchange. And there are 2 more battleships on the other side of the island, so I think he's just been wiped out by that ship. However, the cruiser is coming around the other side, the Dane, and he's about to attack the friendly ship. Has already taken the battering, and that's another thing that goes on a lot. Now, I try and avoid doing it as much as possible, but I noticed, though I'm not good at timing the tempo of incoming fire, but our guy he's starting to turn now, but he's still facing his broadside towards the Dane. Shouldn't be doing that, especially when you're low on health. You should be facing your forward batteries, your best armor, towards the enemy ship. The Dane is also turning its broadside towards the allied ship. So it's a question of who gets the first citadel, or who gets the most citadels first. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous, and it goes on a lot. Okay, the Dane has won there because he had more hit points, but he's lost like nearly half his hit points, and he's about to get spanked from an incoming salvo from a battleship. Boom, citadel gone. Not to mention that he was in the crossfire. But I had assisted in capping Alpha. We have Alpha and Bravo, and I thought, right, I'm going to cap Charlie. I'm going to go down to the C circle and cap that one. I managed to make it up to 28,000 damage as well. Or 25,000 damage, sorry. But I'm heading down now to cap Charlie. I thought this would get a guarantees. I mean, we're ahead on ships and stuff like that, but I think at this stage, why take risks? I mean, we can do this. There isn't We know there are 2 enemy cruisers down that way. One of them was heading up towards Bravo, and both of them just appeared off the edge of Bravo. So I also didn't notice the destroyer. It takes me ages to actually. Situational awareness is no strong point as well. I'm just still haven't looked. Now I spot the destroyer. Really. Anyway, very bad show on my part. But the destroyer is facing off 2 battleships as well, and he gets pretty hard spanked as well. So I'm going to continue on with the original plan of camping Charlie. Now that the destroyer that probably flipped Charlie in the first place has been taken out, and there's only 2 remaining ships, and I know where they are. They're over capping Bravo. I do like that the minimap has the last spotted location of the enemy ships. That's extremely useful information. It would be actually nice if World of Tanks console had this as a native feature. Last known location of the tanks. I actually do think that the PC directional indicators and the last known location stuff is really valuable information that should be tracked by the game, and we shouldn't have to be. Well, you can't get mods on the console versions, but you can on the PC versions. Obviously, you get mods to do this kind of stuff, but I'm not a fan of mods on games either. So I've come through, and I'm about to cap Charlie, and I thought, right, well, we're sailing through Charlie, and Delta's just there in front of me. So I'm going to keep going. The 2 battleships are together, and therefore they should be able to take on 2 cruisers. And even if they don't take on the 2 cruisers, I can sort of keep flipping capture circles away from them, and that'll keep us ahead on points. Even if they, manage to claw back by the loss of the killing of 2 ships, like 2 battleships will put us down 120 points. And we gained them, 100 points or something like that. So we flipped the whole thing about 240 points, which would be enough to actually put them ahead, unless we had more cap circles, in which case we'd keep the slight edge as long as I could avoid getting killed. It's that kind of a situation. So there is one of the enemy cruisers. In fact, both of them will come around one side of the island. So it's 2-1 versus a battleship. And that was a mistake on our part of our battleships. They should have stuck together. I really, at this stage of the game, you should stick together. So I have, flipped Charlie, and I'm now in the process of flipping Delta, and I'm not going to go around and engage with the cruisers until I'm sure of securing this capture point. Because again, that will give us, the cap pressure will be on our side, and then I can see if I can get more damage or how I do. So we're nearly there. I'm coming around the headland. I'm not going to be spotted until I clear the coast, and now I'm detected. And then I fire my torpedoes, and I suppose that I've captured, so you can't reset the cap here. Now he's responding to, I think his secondary guns are responding. Although that's the way he shoots anyway, but he gets a hit in the rear. And I used my damage control, which I wanted to get the torpedo tubes back in action, and he'd managed to accelerate out of the spread. But then he screws up my steering. Now I have no steering. I'm stuck in the circle that I'm going in, which has me spiraling in towards the enemy ship with my repair on cooldown. Although my repair is actually on a faster cooldown. I think that's a faster cooldown than on the PC, now that I'm looking at it. I, towards the end of the fight, didn't realise that the repair had actually cooled down just before the end of this fight. So I'm coming in, and I'm in force closer, so I'm taking more and more damage, and I'm faffing around with torpedoes, which I think I should have just stuck with the guns. I get the last torpedoes off, but not having turned enough to get them into the path of the St. Louis. did get maybe, what, 3,000 extra damage. Which is a lot off of the St. Louis, actually. But here's, again, more of it. St. Louis is sailing in a straight line at a steady speed, broadside to a battleship. The last salvo, just after the camera came around to me, just the St. Louis was clearing my wreck, missed the St. Louis short, just a very small amount from behind. And here comes the next broadside. And there it goes, and that's it. So yeah. But what I don't know, and what the game doesn't tell me, and I've no way of figuring it out, is whether the caps were what pushed me into the top level. So I finish up, I have 28,000 total damage, I get 69,000 experience. And in fact, I had to go, I'm just going to look at you can see me there, number 1 on the team result. But I also had to go and look up what some of the stuff on the personal results actually meant. I have 69,000 credits. I think that's the currency, the in-game currency to upgrade the ships and buy upgrades and what have you. The 3,567 is the ship's experience. The 358 is global free experience. And the 4,756 is, as far as I can tell, commander experience. But since I don't know how other people did in terms of damage, I don't know, for instance, was the capping what brought me up to the top of the table, or did I actually do more damage than anybody else? I actually kind of doubt that I did more damage than anybody else. I strongly suspect that the battleships did a lot more damage than I did. At least when I've been playing the battleships, they tend to do so. So overall, I find the game very enjoyable. It's great fun. It seems to me to be easier to play, but that could be, like I said, I'm more experienced with the controller these days than in the PC version. It's a little bit too crowded in the sense that people are on top of each other too much. But I do think that the result screens and stuff like that could do a bit more feedback, and the website could do it more in terms of guidance and tutorials and just getting the players to know how to play the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and share. Feel free to comment, because feedback is always welcome. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Bye for now. I will catch you again soon.